A Canadian fly-in fishing adventure is one of life's great pleasures for anglers across the Midwest. Up next, Fishhead host Jon Thelen shares tips and tricks for making the most out of your next dream fishing vacation as he takes a pilgrimage to one of Northern Ontario's wilderness walleye hotspots.
There's one. Look at that. I didn't even see this fish on the graph. Just goes to show you how many fish are most likely underneath you all the time on one of these Canadian trips. I mean, there's fish in so many places. And you know, I mean, you can fish deep water, you can fish shallow water, you can do so many different things. And when we came here today, we just started deep based on time of year. I mean, it's pretty simple. This is the August time frame, and there's a lot of fish out here. And you can see them on your graph deep, and boy, I'll tell you, anybody who says a walleye doesn't fight hard hasn't been to Canada and fought a couple of these fish when you're bringing them up out of 22, 23 feet of water. Look at this one. What a way to start a Canada trip. Wait till you see this fish. Wow. This is what's so neat about coming to Canada. This thing is just a great fish to start with. Look at that walleye right there. That right there is one of the reasons that you come to Canada. The other reason is you're just gonna catch tons of them. And this fish right here, I mean, we're 10 minutes in. Look at that. What a neat way to start the trip. We'll let that guy go because we're gonna get plenty of them, but man, this is gonna be a fun show. We're gonna tell you a little bit today about how to do one of these Canadian fly-in vacations, because this is just part of the fabric of life if you're a fisherman, especially if you're a walleye fisherman. You know, going to Canada, when I was a kid, I mean, this is what my dad did to teach me to fish. He took me to Canada, and I looked forward to going to Canada all year long. And then earlier this year, I brought my son to the same place we are today. And I brought him here, and after being here and having as much fun as we had, we decided to come back here and film, because this is just something that, as far as I'm concerned, everybody should try to find a way to come and do. A fly-in trip in the middle of nowhere, no boats around, nothing but woods, water, and walleyes. I don't know if you can beat something like that. There's one. Got him. I don't know if there's any more fun than catching a walleye on a jig. You know, I like fishing a lot of different ways, but jig fishing's so cool because you just get to feel them smack it. Realistically, if you're coming up to Canada, it's a pretty simple deal. You don't need a whole lot in most cases. All I've done is I've brought a tray of Lindy jigs, and I'm fishing a 3/8 ounce today. I'm fishing on the heavy side because these fish aren't bothered by it. So if I can fish heavier, I'll always do it, because then I know I'm closer to the bottom. I don't have to think about it. I know I'm where I want to be. This feels like a pretty good fish here. But all we're doing, we're just fishing a jig and a minnow. And I'm just trolling it along. I'll back troll, I'll kick it in and out of gear, mess around with that a little bit. Oh yeah, it's a real good eye. Let's get him over here. What a great fish. Look at that. What a great Canadian walleye right there. I think that's one of the neat things too, is you'll get such a variety of fish on a trip like this. And you can get them fishing with your rod in hand, so you get to feel the bite. I mean, that walleye, he just smacked that jig, and I mean, you can see he just drilled it, and it was simple. It was just a lift, and we had him. We'll get him unhooked and throw him back, and tell you a little bit more about what all you want to bring up here, because it's really not that complicated. That's a great fish right there. Get out of here, buddy. But the Lindy jig, you know, this 3/8 ounce jig, a couple things about it. One, I've caught multiple fish this evening. That hook hasn't bent. That's a solid hook. It's a razor sharp hook. That's a big deal to me, because I don't want to be going through jigs because of bad hooks, and the Lindy jig has an awesome hook in it. The other thing about it is it's got protruded eyes, so that thing's really holographic down there. I mean, it's 3D. These fish can actually see it. It looks real life, because all a jig is really weight to get down there with the bait we're using or the plastic we're using. But if we can make it look realistic, like the head of a minnow, by putting those eyes on there, bulging them out, I'll tell you what, it can make a huge difference, and a lot of days get you some extra bites. But I think the most important part of this Lindy jig day in and day out is when I'm going to tie on a new jig, I don't ever have to dig any paint out of that eye. That eye is always clean every single time, and that's what makes the Lindy jig different than all the other jigs out there, because most of them, you got to dig the paint out of them. So when you're at your retailer and you're looking for the jigs that you want to take on any trip, it really doesn't matter. This is the one you want to look for because it's going to do everything you need all day long. It's got great colors, you know, a huge variety of sizes. Really anything you need in the Lindy jig, it covers it. Look at that, just drifting along. Feels like a little bit better fish too. Just simply doing a little bit of drifting here. You know, a back troll up against the wind, and then it's as simple as just shut that motor down and drift with the wind. You know, we came in here this morning, or this afternoon actually. We got to Ear Falls. We drove up this morning, and it's only up to K Air Service and their base camp on Lac Seul in Ear Falls. It's really not a bad drive, 8 to 9 hours. Once we got here, or got to their base camp, man, they got us all loaded up on the plane, and it's really cool because I mean they bring carts right down to your boat. I mean, there's no messing around. I mean, these guys do this for a living every day. They take people fishing. You know, they brought carts right down to the boat. They got everything loaded up, or right down to my truck, I mean, and they got everything loaded up, and they put us on the plane, and man, 40 minutes later, here we are. I mean, we were unloaded. They helped us get everything unloaded, and off they went, and we just started, after loading a few things into the cabin, we just came out and started catching fish. Here's the thing about the place we're at. K Air Service is really neat because they've got 2 cabins right on Lac Seul at the base camp in Ear Falls. So if you want to come up and fish Lac Seul, there's some great fishing opportunities right there. But then they've got 3 different outposts. Now today we're on Birch Lake. They've got another one called Kasumit, and then they've got another one called Saddle Lake. And they've got awesome cabins at all of them. They all have all the amenities you could ask for at an outpost cabin. They all have hot water showers, and I think that's just awesome. I mean, you could bring the wife and kids on a trip like this if you want. And then they've also got running water. They've got fish cookers there. Everything's there that you're gonna need to be able to just bring your fishing stuff, bring some, you know, bring some clothes, bring a little bit of gear, bring a graph, and you know what? You get there and everything you need's there. You just go fishing. They couldn't make it any easier for you. It's a great location. It's a great way to go about taking a Canada fishing trip. At the end of the show, we're gonna put the information for K Air Service up on the screen because Peter and Karen K run just an awesome operation. And you know, if you watch Fish Ed, I don't endorse a lot of resorts. I came here with my son on a trip that we just planned so that him and I could get away and go fishing. And I just liked the place so much, I asked him if I could come back and film because this is just a neat place, and I wanted you to be able to see it because it's an opportunity to go out and catch so many fish and have so much fun, and I think it's something that everybody should have the chance to enjoy and go do if you can. There's one. Got it. Man, when you find a spot like what we're on right here, this is just absolutely automatic right now. I mean, we're just coming back over and catching them one after another, and it just doesn't stop. I'm starting to wonder if we have a pike or if we have a real good eye here. A little hard to tell sometimes. And you know, your fishing areas where both of them are at. Ooh, big walleye. Big walleye, look at this. Ooh, geez. A little tougher in a small boat than it is in my big boat. Look at this. Big walleye to wrap up our night. Look at that. That's what's so great about this place too. Look at that. That is a great fish. And you know, this one here, this isn't your 29-inch, 8-pound fish, but they're here too. But that is a great Canadian walleye right there, and what a great way to wrap up our evening. We're gonna get back out tomorrow. We're gonna go back, we're gonna cook some dinner at camp and just enjoy an evening and enjoy a sunset. This is a pretty hard thing to beat. To get an opportunity to come and do something like this, do it. It's one of those once in a lifetime things that if you don't do, you're gonna have missed something really cool. Any of these flying adventures. Check out K Air Service. I'm telling you, they're as good as they come. This is where I bring my own kit. This is the funnest place I have found to go fishing in a long time. And boy, I'll tell you what, he just had a ball, and I was thrilled when we could come back this week. Look at that. What a great way to wrap it up, man.